Good afternoon, I'm Mike. Wow, I'm not used to a mic with Mike. It's loud in here. Yesterday I was projecting. And I'm joined today with Trent and Melissa, and they're going to be working on a little project, and we'll come back to that here in a couple of minutes. So we've been casting for about 38 years. I'm a second-generation caster, and we moved our business down here from Loveland 3 or 4 years ago, and actually right here on 4th Street. And the first thing we discovered is, wow, we've landed in a community where we're full of artists. Things are, different than they were on the ranch where we could walk to work and cast and come back and make belt buckles. So we instantly had a lot of people that were coming through our foundry and curious about what it is that we're doing. And so what we quickly realized, because I grew up casting, and we just thought everybody knew what lost wax casting was all about. What I quickly discovered is not a lot of people know what lost wax casting is about, and they definitely don't have the access to it. So we did a little bit of a test, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that because that's what these guys have to do with. But I'm going to explain to you first the process of lost wax casting. So in the process, obviously you have to start with wax, and that's what Trent and Melissa are working on right now. They're carving away on some stuff. And then you take and you make what's called a tree. This is just wax welded. You can do that with a hot iron, and you just kind of put these things together. That then goes into a can, and you'll notice this can has some holes in it, and I'll explain what that's all about here in just a couple of minutes. Then you put it in this can, and you'll notice it also has some plastic on it. So once this is inside the can, we now have the waxes in there. We mix up a plaster mix, which is called investment, and you surround those waxes with investment. And this process takes 15, 20 minutes for it to set up hard. Once you've got it to that stage, you then peel off that rubber base, and now you've got your wax completely contained inside of this flask here. So the next step is we've got to get that wax out of there. What we've got set up is a hard shell. This is like concrete. So we actually put this in a steamer because we're right out the back door of the rear of the steer, and people would get mad at us if we just burned this stuff out. We actually steam this and get about 85% of our wax reclaimed. And so for thousands of casts a year, we probably purchase 30 to 40 pounds of wax. We're able to recycle all of our wax. The mix changes a little bit, and we have to play with it, but for the most part, we're pretty self-sustainable there. Then this can will go into an oven for 14 hours, go up to 1,350 degrees, come down to 1,100 degrees, nice and toasty, and then it's ready to be cast. At that point, this cavity now, wherever the wax was at, is now a void. So we no longer have wax in there, but we have a negative space of whatever we were going to cast. So at that point, we then take this and put it into a machine that it then puts it in a vacuum, and that's where these holes come into line. Because this mixture is porous enough that you actually apply negative pressure or a vacuum on it, and it goes right into that cavity that's just to the left of the machine there. And then that sucks into all the details. So the super detailed stuff that they're working on here will get filled with bronze or silver or gold or whatever it may be. So that's a little bit about the lost wax process. Here's what those trees then look like when they're in bronze. So it's kind of a neat deal. This was literally cast just this morning. So this is for a local. This didn't come from one of our kits, but this came from a local professional artist. So what the challenge was is we were going to figure out, well, how could we increase awareness about this and accessibility for it? So before the Loveland Sculpture Show a couple years ago, we actually created this kit that has the wax is already pre-formed and ready to go. And we're just trying to make it easy for people so they didn't have to go around town and find wax and then find tools, and the kit comes with tools. And we gave 50 of these kits away. And that's really the fun part that we discovered in Loveland. People that were novice artists, never done anything with sculpture before, suddenly had that as their medium. They may have been painters before, they may have done other things. And that's where Trent and Melissa come in. Melissa, tell me a little bit about your lost wax experience.
Well, I am by no means an artist, okay? Before 2010, I was a professional who would put on a beautiful outfit like this and go off to work in the morning and come home and feed the kids, etc. Now, after a required retirement, shall we say. I was running around the sculpture show and saw that they were giving out these kits, and I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. This is an opportunity to learn an old art process myself. I don't know anything about art. And my first piece, I'll just show you here, was these little hearts. Now, granted, I'm not from Loveland, but I've lived here 20 years. And so I made a little totem of hearts. And on every vacation I've taken since, it's come with me. So I have pictures of it on the shores of Florida and by Yellowstone geysers. And it's sort of like that Travelocity gnome. And it came out of something that looked like this. So that's my story. They hooked me with that. And now I've been making medallions like this and other medallions, and they make a wonderful gift from the heart.
So the other thing we discovered along this way is we kind of tried to dial in what age group really works with this, and we've donated a bunch of kits to schools and trying to figure out, what age do kids kind of get that ability to do it. And that's where Trent comes in. Trent was one of the first folks to grab one of these kits. He was one of those 50 kits we gave away. So Trent, tell us a little bit about what you're working on.
Right now I'm working on an Empire State Building, so, it's basically simple. Start with one of the blocks you can just see in the shape. Although what you have to do is you have to chop off this part of the block, save that wax, melt it onto here, just, I guess, shove it in the microwave, blow it with a hairdryer. But, so you do that, and then the extra bits, you can, form different layers and little tips, make little needles, stuff like that. And after you're done with that, you can put in like little windows. Although you want to make sure they're really deep, because with my dice, some of them weren't as deep, so they had to drill it in when it was already casted. So they want to make sure you have nice deep holes, and you send it to them, and next thing you know, you have a nice casted little thing that you can put on a shelf and keep forever.
Awesome. So we're about out of time, but this is a process. We're still determining whether this is a marketable product or not. But in the meantime, we're just having a lot of fun with it and really discovering the creativity of people here in Loveland. Thank you.